Here's an example of in-group favoritism. You have this meme that's saying, when people tell me I'm missing out on the joy of having kids, I'm wiping away the money from my eyes. So in this, I think I said that correctly. Um, in this case, the in-group is are people who do not have kids. The out-group would be people who do have kids, right? And especially if I post this on like my social media or something. And then here's an example of social mobility. When you graduate college, you are mobilized into a different social group. So you're no longer, quote, college student, unless you continue on to grad school, of course. And now you are in the hiring field, or you're trying to get hired for a job. So you're going from school to workplace. That's an example of mobilizing social mobility. You also now have an education. So where if we look at a lot of polls and just a lot of different things, you always see education as a factor on those types of surveys. Um, and one question asks, what's your highest level of education? So after you complete college, you would be then able to check a different box, right? All right, an example of social creativity. Personally, I like self-identify as Appalachian, and there's this guy who creates like Appalachian art, and he's kind of reclaimed a lot of the negative components of Appalachian identity um, in a way it's really interesting. If you want to go look him up on Instagram, his handle is Lil Bubby Child. So, but you can see this reclaimed this mullet, or maybe it's a rat tail, I'm not really sure. And he's got this shirt on that says Plum Wild. This same guy makes art about Appalachian Meemaws, right? And it really gets into the family connection while also being satirical. So that's an idea of social creativity. Another example of social creativity is the Pride movement. So um, when in the third wave of feminism, we saw a lot more focus on reclamation and celebrating queerness instead of having it more as like a slur. It used to be more of a slur. Um, so that's another example, is just taking that negative component that society has labeled something and turning it into a celebratory thing. Now, this is an example of social competition. I kind of already talked about this. I know that WVU and Virginia Tech are rivals. I honestly didn't know that until I went to WVU. But if I am wearing my gear that literally says beat WVU, I am engaging in social competition. I am actively against a member of my out group, right? Whenever you see any sort of like anti-political thing, that's social competition. If there's a target toward I don't know, they make flags and stuff that are direct social competition. Some of them can get like really nasty too, like dehumanizing, and that's we don't social competition is never really good whenever they're dehumanizing messages. There's not anything dehumanizing about this. If we think back to our functions and dysfunctions, right? Anything that's a dehumanizing message to an out group is very dysfunctional and is not supportive of our social structure. So, okay, now let's talk about the stereotype content model. I'm going to pause again to try to keep these recordings short.